The nurse's face went white as she stared at the chart in her hands. She looked up at me, then back down at the name on the patient intake form. Her voice cracked when she finally spoke. "Dr. Chen, your father is here. He needs emergency surgery. A triple bypass. His heart is... He's not going to make it through the night without intervention." I felt my hands go cold. 20 years. 20 years since I'd heard his voice. 20 years since he'd stood in our driveway, my suitcase at his feet, and told me I was no longer his daughter. 20 years since my mother stood silently behind him, watching, saying nothing, as he erased me from their lives. And now? Now his life was literally in my hands. The same hands he said would never amount to anything. The same hands he said were wasting his money on stupid dreams. The same hands he told me would never be good enough. Funny how life works, isn't it? If you've ever been told you weren't good enough, if you've ever been abandoned by the people who were supposed to love you unconditionally, if you've ever dreamed of the moment when the people who destroyed you finally realize what they've lost, then you need to hear this story. Hit that like button right now, subscribe, and buckle up, because this is about justice, karma, and a choice I never thought I'd have to make. Let me take you back, way back, to when I was just a kid with stars in my eyes and a dream that felt too big for my small-town life. I grew up in a traditional Chinese-American household in Sacramento, California. My father, Richard Chen, was a successful real estate developer. My mother, Susan, she was whatever my father wanted her to be. That's not me being cruel, that's just the truth. From the moment I could talk, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. Not just any doctor, a surgeon. A cardiovascular surgeon, to be specific. I remember being 7 years old, watching a documentary about open-heart surgery on PBS. My father walked into the room, saw what I was watching, and laughed. Not a warm, encouraging laugh, a dismissive one. "That's not for people like us, Melissa," he said, changing the channel. "Too hard, too expensive. You'll be a real estate agent. Work with me. That's where the real money is." But I didn't want money. I wanted to save lives. Throughout middle school and high school, I was obsessed. I volunteered at the local hospital. I shadowed nurses. I devoured every biology textbook I could get my hands on. My grades were perfect. Not good, perfect. 4.0 GPA, top of my class. National Honor Society, Science Olympiad champion 3 years running. And my father? He called it a phase. "You're wasting your time," he'd say at dinner, barely looking up from his phone. "Medicine is for geniuses. You're smart, Melissa, but not that smart. And we're not paying for medical school. That's 8 years of school. You think money grows on trees?" My mother would just nod, always nodding, never disagreeing, never defending me. But I had hope, because I had a plan. Senior year, I applied to 15 colleges. Full-ride scholarships were my only option, and I knew it. I worked my ass off. I studied until 2 a.m. every night. I took every AP exam. I volunteered, I led clubs, I did everything right. And then, the letters started coming. Stanford, full academic scholarship. Johns Hopkins, full ride plus research stipend. Yale, full scholarship with honors program acceptance. I was shaking when I opened them, crying. These weren't just acceptances, they were validations. Proof that my father was wrong, proof that I was smart enough, that I could do this. I ran downstairs, letters clutched in my hands, tears streaming down my face. "Dad! Mom! I got in! Full scholarships! I got into Stanford, Johns Hopkins! I don't need your money! I did it on my own!" I'll never forget the look on his face. Not pride, not joy. Anger. Pure, cold anger. "No," he said simply. I blinked. "What?" I said, "No, you're not going." My mother looked away. But I have full scholarships. It won't cost you anything. You're 18 now, Melissa. An adult. And adults in this family contribute. You're going to community college, getting your real estate license, and working with me. End of discussion. My heart stopped. You can't be serious. I'm dead serious. You think you're going to abandon this family? Abandon your responsibilities? Chase some fantasy? Spend 8 years partying at college while I work myself to death? It's not a fantasy. I want to save lives. You want to embarrass me, he shouted, slamming his hand on the table. You want to be better than me. You think you're too good for the family business? You think you're smarter than your old man? That's not what this is about. Then prove it. Stay. Work. Be part of this family, or... He paused. The silence was crushing. Or what? I whispered. Or you're not my daughter anymore. The room tilted. My mother was crying silently, but she said nothing. Nothing. You don't mean that, I breathed. Try me. I packed my bags that night. 1 suitcase, that's all I could carry. My father stood in the driveway at 6 a.m. the next morning, arms crossed. My mother watched from the window. Last chance, Melissa. Stay. Give up this nonsense, or walk away and don't come back. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my suitcase. I was 18 years old. I had $247 in my bank account. No car, no family, no safety net. But I had those acceptance letters. I'm going to Stanford, I said, my voice breaking. And one day you're going to regret this. He actually smiled, a cold, cruel smile. No, sweetheart. One day you're going to regret this. When you're drowning in debt, when you realize you're not special, when you come crawling back. I won't be here. You're making the biggest mistake of your life. Then it's my mistake to make. I turned and walked away. I didn't look back, but I heard my mother crying, and I heard my father say, "Let her go. She's dead to us now." Those words, dead to us. I carried them for 20 years. You want to know what it's like to be completely alone at 18? Let me paint you a picture. I slept on my roommate's couch for 3 months because I couldn't afford campus housing. I worked 3 jobs. 3. I was a barista at 5 a.m., a tutor at noon, a lab assistant at night. I studied between shifts. I lived on ramen and coffee. My GPA? Still perfect, because I had something to prove. I wasn't just studying for me anymore. I was studying to prove him wrong. Every A was a middle finger to my father. Every exam was evidence that he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. Pre-med was brutal. Organic chemistry nearly broke me, but I survived. Medical school applications? I applied to 20 schools, got into 12, chose Harvard Medical School. Harvard. The girl my father said wasn't that smart got into Harvard Medical School. I called home once, just once, to tell them. My mother answered, "Mom, it's me, Melissa. I wanted you to know. I got into Harvard. For medical school, She hung up. She didn't even let me finish. That's when I stopped trying. That's when I realized they'd really meant it. I was dead to them. So I became dead to them too. Medical school was hell, but I thrived in hell. I graduated top 5% of my class. I matched into a cardiovascular surgery residency at Massachusetts General Hospital, one of the most competitive programs in the country. Residency? That's where boys become men and girls become gods. 80-hour weeks, 36-hour shifts, life and death decisions before your morning coffee. I held beating hearts in my hands. I learned to cut, clamp, and suture faster than most people can tie their shoes. I lost relationships. I lost sleep. I lost parts of myself I'll never get back. But I gained something too. I became one of the best cardiovascular surgeons in the country. By 35, I was an attending physician. By 38, I was leading my own surgical team. By 40, I'd published groundbreaking research on minimally invasive bypass procedures. My name was in medical journals. I spoke at conferences. I trained other surgeons. I'd built a life my father said was impossible, and I did it without them. 20 years, 2 decades of silence. I'd thought about them, of course. You can't just erase your parents from your memory. Sometimes I'd wonder if they ever thought about me, if they ever regretted it, if they even knew where I was or what I'd become. But I never reached out, and they never did either, until that Tuesday. I was in my office reviewing surgical schedules when my nurse, Angela, knocked on my door. Her face was pale. "Dr. Chen, there's a patient, emergency admission, cardiac event. He needs a triple bypass and he needs it tonight." "Okay," I said, standing. "What's the complication?" She handed me the chart, and there it was. Patient name, Richard Chen, age, 68, insurance, self-pay, emergency contact, Susan Chen, wife. The room spun. "Dr. Chen?" Angela touched my arm. "Are you okay? Do you know him?" "He's my father," I whispered. I had to see him. I had to know if it was really him. I walked to the cardiac ICU like I was walking to my own execution. Each step felt heavier than the last. And there he was, 20 years older, gray hair, thinner, weaker, hooked up to monitors, oxygen, IVs. He looked so small. This was the man who'd terrified me, who'd controlled me, who'd thrown me away like garbage, and now he was just fragile. My mother sat beside him, holding his hand. She looked up when I walked in, and she gasped. "Melissa?" she breathed. My father's eyes opened. He stared at me, confused at first, then recognition. "Melissa?" His voice was weak, raspy. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, feeling nothing and everything all at once. "Hello, Dad." My mother stood, tears already streaming. "Oh my God, Melissa, you're here. I'm your husband's surgeon," I said coldly. "That's why I'm here." My father tried to sit up, but the pain stopped him. You're a doctor?" I smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "I'm not just a doctor, Dad. I'm a cardiovascular surgeon, one of the best in the state, actually. And according to your chart, you have severe coronary artery disease. 3 blocked arteries. You need a triple bypass, tonight, or you'll die." The color drained from his face. "And here's the thing," I continued, my voice steady. "I'm the only surgeon in this hospital qualified and available to perform your specific procedure tonight. Dr. Martinez is on vacation. Dr. Patel is in surgery for another 6 hours. By then, you'll be dead." "So," I said, letting that sink in, "your life is in my hands. The hands you said would never be good enough. The daughter you said was dead to you. I'm all you've got." My mother broke down. Please, Melissa, I know what we did was unforgivable, but please, he's your father. He's dying." "He made his choice 20 years ago," I said, "and I've made mine." I let them sit with that for a moment, let them feel what I felt 20 years ago. Powerless, terrified, abandoned. My father's monitors beeped steadily. His breathing was labored. "Melissa," I'm sorry. Actually, sorry? You're sorry now? When you need me? When your life depends on me? Where was sorry 20 years ago? Where was sorry when I called Mom from Harvard? Where was sorry when I sent you a letter telling you I'd graduated medical school? You sent a letter? My mother. Returned to sender, unopened. She collapsed into her chair. My father's eyes filled with tears, real tears. I'd never seen him cry. "I was wrong," he said. God, Melissa, I was so wrong. I was proud, stubborn. I thought you were abandoning us, rejecting me, and I handled it like a coward." "You handled it like a monster," I corrected. "Yes," he agreed, "I did. And I've thought about you every day since, wondered where you were, if you were okay, if you hated us." "I did hate you," I said, "for years. But you know what? Hate takes energy, and eventually you just weren't worth the energy anymore." He flinched like I'd slapped him. "Please, my mother. Please, Melissa. I know we don't deserve your help. I know we failed you as parents, but please, don't let him die. Not like this." I looked at her, really looked at her. "You stood there and watched him throw me out. You didn't say a word. You didn't defend me. You didn't choose me. You chose silence, and silence is just as bad as cruelty." "I know," I know, and I've regretted it every single day. I was weak. I was a coward. I should have fought for you. I should have left him and followed you. I should have—" "But you didn't." "No, I didn't." I turned to my father. "Do you know what kept me going? During those first years when I was terrified and alone and broke, it wasn't hope that you'd come back. It wasn't hope that you'd apologize. It was rage. Pure rage. I wanted to become so successful, so undeniably brilliant, that one day you'd hear my name and realize what you lost, what you threw away." "You succeeded," God, Melissa, you succeeded beyond anything I could have imagined." "I know." I walked to his bedside, stood over him, looked down at the man who'd haunted my nightmares and fueled my dreams. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "I'm going to perform your surgery. I'm going to save your life. Not because you deserve it, not because I forgive you, but because I'm a doctor, and I took an oath that means something to me. Unlike family, apparently." Relief flooded his face. "But," I continued, "after tonight, after I save your life, you will never contact me again, neither of you. You will not call, you will not write, you will not show up at my hospital. You had a daughter once. You threw her away. You don't get her back just because you need her." "Melissa," my mother started. "No, this is not a reconciliation. This is not a second chance. This is me being the person you should have been. This is me being better than you, and you will live with that for the rest of your lives. You will live knowing that the daughter you discarded saved your life, and then walked away from you the exact same way you walked away from her." Tears streamed down both their faces. "Do you understand?" I asked. My father nodded. "Yes." "Good. I'll see you in the OR." I scrubbed in with methodical precision, every movement automatic, practiced, perfect. My team was ready, anesthesia standing by, surgical nurses prepared. I walked into that operating room not as a daughter, but as a surgeon, as Dr. Melissa Chen, as the woman I'd built myself into despite everything. The surgery took 6 hours. 6 hours of careful incisions, harvesting veins, bypassing blocked arteries, restarting a heart. 6 hours of holding my father's life in my hands, and I did it flawlessly, because that's who I am. When it was over, when I closed him up and watched his vitals stabilize, I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not revenge, not joy, just nothing. I'd proven everything I needed to prove, not to him, to myself. My father survived, recovered, was discharged 2 weeks later with a strict regimen and follow-up appointments, with a different cardiologist. My mother tried to talk to me once more before they left, caught me in the hallway. "Melissa, please, can we just talk? Get coffee? I want to know you. I want to know who you've become. I want to—" "No," I said simply. "But you had 18 years to know me. You chose not to. That door is closed, Mom. I'm not your daughter anymore, remember? I'm dead to you. You just didn't realize ghosts could perform surgery." I walked away, and I didn't look back, just like 20 years ago, except this time I was the one in control. People always ask me if I regret saving him, if I wish I'd let karma do its work. But here's the thing about revenge. The best revenge isn't cruelty. It's becoming so undeniably successful, so completely self-made, that the people who destroyed you have to live with the knowledge of what they lost. My father will spend the rest of his life knowing that the daughter he threw away saved his life, and then chose to walk away from him. That's a different kind of pain. And honestly, that's enough for me. If this story gave you chills, if you've ever been underestimated, abandoned, or told you weren't good enough, smash that like button right now. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have saved him, or would you have walked away? I want to know what you think. And of course, subscribe, because trust me, we've got more stories of justice, karma, and the sweet satisfaction of proving everyone wrong. I'll see you in the next one.